The struggle is real and I understand it. And I, just like you, struggled for a long time with the dirty word procrastination. Yes, I used to be a procrastinator and I learned to overcome it. And you can overcome procrastination too. It's really not that hard with a few simple things I'm going to show you today. Just like me, you can overcome procrastination. I'm here to help you. Who am I? I'm Greg. Stop the Grind is all about helping you stop the grind and living the life you love. It's time to get out of the ordinary and into the life you love. Let's get started with today's topic. Everyone has procrastinated at some time, and procrastination eats up tons of productive time. Whether it's productive time at a job or productive time where you could be working on your dreams and your goals, obtaining the life you love. So why? Why do we procrastinate? Well, the psychology behind it is often there's a fear of failure. So we're afraid of what will happen if we don't procrastinate and the things that we're working on don't succeed. There's also the perfectionism problem. Sometimes we don't work on the things we need to be working on because we're afraid the thing we're working on will not come out perfect. So instead of having an imperfect item, we're not going to do anything at all. Sometimes it's because we're just overwhelmed. There's so much going on that makes it hard to actually start. And now this also sounds very counterintuitive, but it's a very real reality for most people. When we've got too much to do and not enough time to do it, we end up doing less. We're just overwhelmed and we're not sure where to start is frequently what this problem is. So with too many things to do, we're not sure what the best thing to be doing is, and we end up not doing anything at all and procrastinate. And sometimes we have a lack of motivation. We just don't want to. Plain and simple, we don't want to. And sometimes the lack of motivation comes from a demotivating boss, a job we don't like. Maybe we had a fight with our spouse earlier in the day, so now we're just not motivated to do something. Maybe we had a bad call with a customer, or somebody was actually just flat out mean, and that really can zap your willingness to do anything for a while. It really weighs in on you. And maybe you got a bad night's sleep, so you're actually just really tired and worn out, and you don't feel like doing anything. Although these are very real and very valid reasons essentially to procrastinate, procrastination usually is not a great thing. We need to learn how to overcome these things so that instead of getting stuck and instead of getting further and further behind, and instead of never achieving our goals, we need to move forward. But the first step is knowing what's causing our procrastination. When we know our procrastination problem and understand what's causing it, it can really help us move forward and overcome it. One of the things that I would encourage you to do is kind of keep a log, a notebook, something, and every time you find yourself procrastinating, write down what you think is causing the procrastination and some of the variables around it. Like, is it afternoon? Is it morning? Did I have a bad interaction with a customer today? Was my wife mad at me? Did I not sleep well? Did I not eat well? That can cause a complete lack of motivation, believe it or not. So keep this little log for a while to help you identify not only what's causing you to procrastinate, but some of the patterns around it. Because sometimes the underlying truth of what's causing the problem may be a little bit deeper than what we initially expect. So when we can start to see the patterns, we can start to overcome it. Maybe our procrastination always ends up in the afternoon. Well, now if we can identify what causes the procrastination and that it's always in the afternoon, we've got two prongs to attack here. We know to be more on guard in the afternoon and have systems in place in the afternoon to protect ourselves from procrastination. Plus, when we know what's causing the procrastination, we can use our tools and methods to overcome it. So keeping a little log for a week or two may really help you hone in and understand better your procrastination, what causes it, when it happens, and why it happens. Now, with overwhelming tasks, one of the best things you can do to tackle this is write all of your tasks down. Write them all down. When they're stuck in your head, they're jumbled around, and when we're overwhelmed, we just can't process through them and think through them efficiently to be able to work on getting things done. So write all of your tasks down. This is going to help get them out of your head and in a place where you can visualize them. Now, once we have them written down, the way we attack procrastination is we just start looking at the list and just knocking things off the list. I don't feel like working. I don't want to work. I'm procrastinating. What's next on that list? Let me just work on that one thing. Ignore everything else on the list. Just work on one thing at a time. Just knock it off, take a breather, and now look at the list again and see what the next thing on the list is, and then knock that one off the list. When you have a giant item on the list that's just too big and overwhelming, so you've got this task list, that's great, but the one task at the top of the list now is this giant task, and really you don't feel like working on that. Okay, let's break that one down into subtasks. Big tasks have multiple little tasks to get them done. Let's just pretend for a minute you're writing a book. You could be doing anything, but we can visualize this idea. Writing a book as one task, that's ginormous, and we're not going to get that done quickly, so that is just an overwhelming task all by itself, plus everything else on the task list. What if we broke writing a book down into write the table of contents, write the outline for the foreword, write the outline for the first chapter, write the outline for the second chapter, and so on, and then the next task would be write the foreword, write chapter 1, write chapter 2. So now the book project, this could be any project that you've got that's huge, but the book project, which was one task, is now maybe 20 tasks. And I can simply work through each one of those little tasks much better in my mind than I can work on the giant task of writing an entire book. So with any giant task you have, break it down into subtasks. And maybe we don't do all 20 subtasks at one time. Maybe we do one and then do another task, then come back, do one from this giant task again, and then go back and do another one from something else, which will also break up the things you're working on and help your mind be able to shift gears onto other things so we're not just overwhelmed with this one thing. Maybe we do work through all 20 tasks, but we're not working on one giant task now. We're working on all the subtasks so we can see the little wins along the way. I got that forward written. I got chapter 1 written. I got chapter 2 written. And before you know it, the entire book or giant task that you're working on is finished. And that is a great thing, a great feeling. It makes us happy, and that makes us actually want to accomplish more tasks. Small steps really help reduce overwhelm and builds momentum to keep going. So when you can have a task list and break giant tasks down into little tasks, it can really help you reduce being overwhelmed by your tasks and help you consistently get wins on accomplishing those tasks. When perfectionism is your problem, set realistic goals. Perfectionism really is not something you can achieve. You cannot achieve perfectionism. It's not possible. I'm sorry to be the person to inform you of this, but it's not possible. So be realistic. What is possible? And maybe on our journey to the perfect end product or the best end product it can be, we set little milestones essentially. Maybe we have to get the first, let's take the book example again. We have to make the first draft. The first draft is never intended to be perfect. Then it has to be edited. Then it has to be rewritten according to the edits. Maybe it gets edited again. Eventually we're going to have a product that is excellent. And that is what we need to aim for. Break down your perfectionism into sub goals of getting towards that goal of your excellent end product. And be realistic. I mean, not everything can be the greatest thing in the world, but you can have an excellent thing that makes your customers extremely happy and provides something very valuable for your customers. Would you rather create something very valuable than create nothing at all because you set the unachievable goal of not releasing anything unless it's absolutely perfect? That's silly. The world needs what you have to offer, even if it's not perfect, but only excellent. And there's nothing wrong with being excellent. So break down that excellent item, that perfect item, that excellent item that you're working on into milestones where it can work you up towards that goal of having an excellent product to release. Eliminating distractions is also a huge part of eliminating procrastination. We all do it. We sit here and scroll on social media, and before we know it, an hour has passed. Social media is a huge time suck. Coworkers can be a huge time suck. They stroll on by, they stop, and they talk and talk and talk and talk. Meanwhile, we don't exactly discourage it because we're kind of procrastinating ourselves and not really wanting to work on the task at hand. So we need to eliminate distractions. Maybe we need to set up some focus time. Maybe if we're in an office environment, we put a note on our door or on our cubicle that says, "I'm in focus time right now, please do not disturb." You can write it very friendly like that. You don't have to say, "Don't bother me," or "Do not disturb." No, "I'm in focus time right now, please do not disturb." Well, let your coworkers know this is not the place to stop and mingle right now because I'm trying to get something done. Maybe it is social media. We need to close social media and go do our work right now. We can set a prize for ourselves that when we finish a task or 5 tasks or whatever it is, that we can come back and look at social media for 15 minutes. And I do encourage you at that point, set a timer because a lot of things can become a huge time suck and we don't realize how much time they're taking. So eliminate social media for a little while we focus. Close email. Email is a huge time suck as well. It's amazing how much time email takes away from us. And every time we see the little notification that there's a new email, we stop what we're doing, we go check the email, we read the email, maybe we respond to the email, then we try and get back to the task we are doing. You lost so much time and efficiency there, and breaking your mind away from what you were working on really takes a lot of time to get your mind back in that mode of what you were working on and doing so well with. So closing chats, closing email, using the silent mode on all of our devices, turning off the sound on all of our devices. Maybe we get some earbuds or headphones to just tune everything out so that we can work in silence for a minute or just turn on the music we want to hear while we're focused and working. Eliminate as many distractions as possible. If you have the ability, maybe you want to go to an isolated spot, maybe a separate corner of the office where nobody else is to work for a little while. Not everybody has that option, but you can come up with the things that work for you to help you isolate down and be able to focus without distraction. Like I said, muting everything is a great thing. Turning off all the chat notifications and the email notifications and stepping away from social media, these are all great first steps. So figure out what it's going to be that will help you eliminate your distractions so that you can focus. Sometimes when we're overwhelmed, we need to set like an out, an option to not work. So when we're overwhelmed or we're procrastinating or when we really just don't want to work at all, having an out can give us the ability to focus for a little bit, and knowing that we have an out, we can do that focus time knowing we can walk away. So in this case, what I recommend doing is maybe set a timer for 15 minutes. Start small. I'm going to work undistracted for 15 minutes. When my 15 minutes is up, I get 5 minutes to grab a snack, grab a coffee, talk to a coworker, look at social media, check email, whatever it is. But I have to stay focused for 15 minutes. When the timer goes off, I get 5 minutes to do whatever I want. As we work this muscle, next time try and ramp it up to a half hour. I've got a half hour and then I get 5 minutes to do whatever I want. Next, try an hour. Believe it or not, this is easier than it seems. When you know you have an out, you can do it because you're kind of looking forward to that out. So give yourself 1 hour of pure focus time where you're working. Set the timer. When the timer goes off, if you do a full hour, give yourself 10 or 15 minutes to do whatever you want. During that hour, you will accomplish far more than you would if you kept being distracted for 2 or 3 hours. So this is a very effective technique to get a lot done and avoid procrastination. You essentially give yourself some procrastination, if you will, as a prize for being so focused. And then once your procrastination or prize time is up, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you decide, then you set the timer and you do it again. And you keep repeating this throughout the day. It's amazing how much you will get done when you have focused time and you stay focused because you know that you can have some unfocused time in just a few minutes. It's really not that far away. Even when you set the timer for an hour, really, the end of the hour comes very quickly. It's not that hard to stay focused when we know we have some break coming. Another thing that can help us really stay focused is find an accountability partner. Maybe check in twice a day with this accountability partner. Let them know how you're doing. Just knowing that you have to let somebody know how you're doing will help you stay more focused. You never want to go to your accountability partner and say, I did nothing today. And if you get comfortable doing that with your accountability partner, it's time to change things up and find somebody who will truly hold you accountable. Because an accountability partner is more than just telling somebody what you did. It's somebody who will push back. They'll say, you only did 3 15-minute focus blocks today. That's not good enough. We really need to do better. And so you work harder at getting better at doing this. An accountability partner who actually does not hold you accountable is not an accountability partner. So not everybody has the option of an accountability partner. I understand that, but it can really help. Maybe your spouse can be your accountability partner. You can text your spouse throughout the day. Hey, this morning I did 2 hours of solid work and I did 30 minutes of wasted time. Perfect. Now you've got an accountability partner. They can text back, congratulations, that's great. This afternoon, you might want to try for 3 productive hours and 1 hour of wasted time. Whatever that looks like for you, an accountability partner can A, hold you accountable and help you with that focus time to get stuff done and help you achieve tasks. An accountability partner can also cheer you along on the way. Hey, that's really great, because sometimes it's just hard to do stuff when there's nobody cheering us on. We do need some encouragement along the way. So your accountability partner can tell you, that is great. You did 2 solid hours of work today. That's fantastic. You should be proud of that. Now, as you get more used to this, you're going to want to increase the amounts, but that accountability partner can also be your cheerleader along the way. And a cheerleader really helps us be motivated. Giving yourself prizes along the way can really help you stay motivated. So maybe you set up like a reward system. I focused for this amount of time, I get this amount of time to waste, or I focused for 2 hours, so I get to have a coffee break or a Kit Kat bar, or I get to, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever prize works for you. Maybe you do, I did 5 tasks on my list, I get to go grab coffee. I did 10 tasks on my list, I get to go to the cafeteria. I did 20 tasks on my list before lunch, so I get to go out for lunch today. Whatever prize or reward will work for you, use it. Tiny rewards are better than grandiose rewards because you can give yourself more tiny rewards than grandiose rewards. So maybe going out for lunch is a little too expensive, but grabbing a cup of coffee from the coffee machine, that's fairly cheap. Most offices have free coffee. Even if you make your own coffee or bring your own coffee, it's fairly inexpensive. So your prize is, I can't get coffee until I finish 5 tasks. Then once I finish 5 tasks, I get coffee. Finish the next 5 tasks, I can get another cup of coffee or a water or I don't know, whatever is going to work for you. Little rewards work and they don't have to cost you really anything. It could be I finished 5 tasks like we talked about before, or 2 hours of solid work. I get some time to sit here and scroll social media or do whatever I want for 5 minutes. Any kind of reward system here can work. Just make sure the reward system that you put in place is reasonable. Taking the first step here is going to be the hardest. So first, figure out what your triggers are, what's causing your procrastination, and when you procrastinate. Use that journal. This is the hardest first step. Use the journal and write it all down to help you figure it out. The next step is kind of equally as hard, and that's picking something to do. Any one of these things that we talked about. Figuring out how to eliminate your distraction. Take that first step. Try doing a 5-minute focused block of time or a 10-minute focused block of time or finishing 5 tasks. The hardest step is starting. Once you get started, you can repeat the process over and over. It becomes easier. It's like exercise. The first time you exercise, it's hard, but it gets easier over time. Really, you need to just do it. You need to just acknowledge the fact that you procrastinate, and you need to choose to not procrastinate. You need to choose to just do it. Just work on it. Just work on this problem of procrastination. Put these things into place. It will really help you. Whatever your procrastination problem is, there's a solution, and we covered them today. Go ahead, put these things in place. I would love to hear from you what your procrastination problem is and what you're doing to solve your procrastination problem. I'm here to help you in any way I can. I believe in you. I know you can do this. It's time to stop the grind and build the life you love.